So first of all, I am going to give a demo of our project. Here you can see that this is a main page. Here you can see a welcome page, welcome section, a navbar, and the home section which contains the cards of the movie. So here you can see the name of the movie, date, release date, short description of the movie, language, and watch now button. So here you can see that the upcoming movies are listed in this card. So I'm going to click on one of the card. At that time, we will be redirected to the details section. So here you can see the detailed description of the movie and other details. So when I click the watch now button, at that time you can see a warning that is please log in. So we have to log in. So I'm going to the main page. So here you can see that in the home, that is the upcoming movies are listed. Okay, as like this way. So next I'm going to click on this movie icon. So at that time you can see that the whole movies will be listed without any category. Then next I'm going to click on the TV icon. At that time you can see that the TV shows will be listed as like this way. So when we click any TV show card, we will be redirected to the details section. So next I'm going to click on the search icon. So at that time you can see that this is the search section. So we can search for a particular movie as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to click on this profile icon or sign in section. So here this is a sign in page. I'm going to select the country and I'm going to enter the phone number. So after entering phone number, I'm going to click on the send OTP button, and here you can see I am not a robot section. So I am going to click on the empty space. Then we will get an OTP into our phone number, into our mobile. So I'm going to enter that OTP here. After that, I'm going to click on the verify OTP button. Then we will be redirected to the main page. So here you can see that the next we can watch the trailer by clicking the watch now button as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to click on the logout button. At that time you can see that the user is logged out successfully.
If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel.
First of all, I am going to create a TypeScript React project. So for that, I am going to search the TypeScript, create React app. I'm going to click on this first link. Next, I am going to copy this command from here and to run that command in the project. So now our TypeScript React project will be created. We have to wait for that. So TypeScript React project has been created. Next, I'm going to do is to run the project. So now you can see that this is the new project that is created now. Here you can see the app.tsx. Then next I'm going to do is to remove the boilerplate codes such as logos and other files. I'm going to remove this section of index.tsx file. Okay, so next I'm going to do is to change the app.tsx file as like this way. And here I'm going to give as app. After that, I'm going to remove this app.test. Okay, fine. So we have removed all the boilerplate codes. So now you can see that this is our project. Next, I'm going to open original Disney Plus All-Star website. So here you can see that this is the home page of our project or the original Disney Plus Hotstar. Here you can see that this is a login page. So today we are going to create the login page clone. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new component in the components folder, that is signin.tsx. So here I have created components folder, and in the components folder I'm going to create signin.tsx. Okay, so here I'm going to give as sign in as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to call this signin.tsx or sign-in component in the app.tsx as like this way. So now you can see that here is the sign in. Okay, fine. So this is the login page that we are going to create today. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to search for Tailwind CSS, create React app. So next I'm going to click on this first link. You can see that we have already created our new project. Then first I'm going to run this command. I'm going to install Tailwind into our project. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to run the second command from here. So at that time you can see that a new file, that is tailwind.config, will be created in our project. You can see that here as like this way. So as a next step, we have to do is to copy this string or section from here and to paste it in the content of this tailwind.config file as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this three line from here and to paste it in the index.css file. Okay. So whole steps of this Tailwind is completed. So next I'm going to do is to copy this section of the code from here and to paste it in the sign-in component as like this way. So now you can see that I'm going to take our project. As of now, this Tailwind is not working. So I'm going to terminate our project and I'm going to run the project again. So I'm going to run the project. So now you can see that. So now the Tailwind is working because you can see the underline there. We have given the, or they have given the underline style. So next I'm going to give that red 500. Okay, so now you can see that yes, the Tailwind is working fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this sign-in component into two sections. Okay, so for that I am going to use the grid from the Tailwind, that is grid column 2. Okay, as like this way. So now this is divided into two parts. So I am going to use the div for the two parts as like this way. And in the first part I am going to use the style, and inside the style I am going to give the background image. So here I am going to give backtick. Inside the backtick I am going to use the URL, and here I am going to give the background image. So for that I am going to import an image from my system. So here I am going to create a new folder called images, and I am going to import an image from my system. So I have already created an image. So I am going to import that image into this images folder. Then here you can see that this is the image that we are using. So next I am going to import that image into sign-in component. So I'm going to rename that image into sign-in as like this way, sign-in.jpg. And here I'm going to import sign-in from images slash sign-in. Okay, as like this way. So now you can see that here is showing an error, that is it is declared but not used. So I'm going to copy this and to paste it in the URL as like this way. So then also you can see an error is showing. So it is because we are using TypeScript. I'm going to create a new file. we need to create a new file. Here I'm going to give the name of the file as sample, that is sample.d.ts. So inside this file, we have to declare the module, that is declare module star dot jpg. Okay, so now you can see that the error has gone. So I'm going to copy this and to paste it as like this way. So here I'm going to give as JPEG and also the PNG. Okay, so when we are using, as we are using this TypeScript, we have to do as like this way for importing the image. So here I'm going to rename it as background image, and here I am going to give the height screen. So now you can see that this is a structure of our image. So next I'm going to give the background color for the main div as black. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to give is, I'm going to give as linear gradient in this background image. That is linear gradient RGBA, that is 0, 0, 0, 7. And next RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.1. Okay, fine. So now you can see that here is a shadow. So next I am going to give, that is to left here. Okay, fine. This is a structure as of now. There is a shade. Okay, fine. Next I am going to do is, here I am going to give this login or sign up to continue. So for that I am going to use the h1 tag in the div below, and here I am going to give as log in or sign up to continue. Okay, fine. Then next I am going to give a class name, and here I am going to give as text extra large. Okay, fine. And also I am going to give as font semi bold. So at that time you can see that here is a structure. So next I am going to give a color that is text white. Okay, here is login or sign up to continue. The next I am going to give the text field or input here. So for that I am going to use the React input 2, that is React font input 2. So I'm going to click on this link npm, and I am going to copy this command and to run the command in the terminal as like this way. So now you can see that React font input 2 will be installed into our project. So here, next you can see that here is an example. So from this example, I'm going to copy this and to paste it here. And I'm going to copy this font input component section, and also I'm going to paste it after this h1 tag. And here we need to bring some changes. Here they have given the country value and on change. So I'm going to remove this from value, and here I am going to remove this from the on change also. Then next I'm going to define the state, that is font. Const font set font, which is equal to use state empty string. Okay. So I am going to import that use state here. Okay, fine. So now you can see that everything is okay. So here you can see the input field. So next I am going to give a style, that is here I am going to give as input style. That is font input contains a props called input style. So here we can give the style, that means I am giving background color black. So at that time you can see that this is a structure as of now. Then I am going to give the color also, that is white. Okay. And here I am going to give the placeholder as enter mobile number. So here you can see that this is the structure. Here you can see the Placeholder also. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to give this text from here, that is by proceeding, etc. So here I am going to use the h6 tag, and here I am going to give as by proceeding as like this way, privacy policy and terms of use. Okay, fine. So next I am going to use the PR tag, and I am going to give here as like this way. So now you can see that this is a structure. So here I am going to give a class name, and I am going to give the text color also. So text color as I am going to select a gray color. Then next I am going to give the text extra small, and I'm going to okay. Next I'm going to change the, or I'm going to give the margin top as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to change the position of this BR tag. I'm going to paste this BR tag here. Okay, fine. So now you can see the structure as like this way. It is nice. After that, I'm going to do is here you can see that when we enter the number, there is a button that is get OTP button. So I am going to give that button also after this h6 tag. So for that, I'm going to use a button from the Tailwind itself. So here I am going to search for the Tailwind button, and I'm going to click on this first link. Here you can see that there is a lot of buttons, different designs. So I'm going to select the basic button from here. I'm going to copy this button and to paste it here. So now you can see that this is a structure. So here I'm going to bring some changes. So I am going to first give here the class name instead of class. So here you can see the basic button here. So I am going to next give the background blue 700, and I am going to change the name of the button as verify OTP. And after that, I am going to do is I'm going to, so now you can see that this is a structure. We have to increase the width of this button. So for that, I am going to give as W-80. Okay, fine. For 72. Then next I am going to do is to give a margin left as like this way. Okay. So after that, I am going to give a margin top for this h1 tag. So here you can see that this is a structure. Next, I'm going to do is I'm going to give a margin top for this verify OTP button also. So I'm going to select it margin top as like this way, and you can see that this is the structure of our project now. Then next I'm going to do is here I'm going to give a height for the button. Okay, fine. Next I'm going to do is to give the class name for the second div. Okay. So here I am going to give that text below this button. So for that I am going to use the h3 tag, and here I am going to enter, or I am going to type as enter code, then number, and click get OTP. So I am going to put this get OTP in this pan as like this way. Then here I am going to give the class name that is text color blue hyphen 500. Okay, fine. Then here I am going to give the class name, that is text slate, for about 700, or I am going to give as 500. Okay, fine. This is a structure. Then next I am going to give a margin left for about 3. After that I am going to give the margin top. Okay, so this is the design of our sign-in page. Then next I am going to give the functionalities. So for that, first of all, I am going to take the Firebase. Here I am going to click on this link. Then next I am going to click on the get started button. After that, I am going to create a new project in the Firebase by clicking add project button. Here we have to enter the project name. So I am going to give the project name, that is Disney clone, and I am going to click on continue button. Then next I am going to disable this Google Analytics and I am going to click on create project. So now a new project will be created. So the new project has been created. Next I am going to click on continue and we will be redirected to the console of our project. Here you can see there is 3 icons, that is iOS, Android and web. So here I am going to click on this web icon, and next we have to give the name of the app. So I am going to give the name of the app as Disney clone itself. After giving the name of the app, we need to click on the register app button. That is the first step. Then as a second step, we have to install this Firebase into our project by using this command, as we are using npm. So I am going to copy this command and to run that command in our project. So now the Firebase will be installed into our project. So now you can see that the Firebase has been installed into our project. You can see that in the package.json as like this way. Here is Firebase. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder that is called Firebase, and I'm going to copy this code from here as the next step, and we have to use that in our project. So for that I'm going to create a new file called setup in the Firebase folder, and here I am going to paste that code that we have copied from there, and I'm going to remove this command from here as like this way for making it more clear. So now you can see that this is a structure. Here you can see there is a Firebase config which contains API key or domain project ID, etc. We don't want to bring any changes for this Firebase config, so I'm going to just minimize that Firebase config as of now. So here you can see that they have initialized the app by using initialize app or importing initialize app from the Firebase app. So the first step that we have to do is we have to import a function from the Firebase auth. Okay, so the function that we have to import is get auth from Firebase as like this way. Then after that we have to define a new variable and I am going to pass the get auth, and I am going to pass the app as an argument into this get auth. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to export that, and setup file is completed. So next we have to do is to use this auth in other files. So before that I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this continue to console button. At the time you can see that we will be redirected to the console, and here in the sidebar you can see a build button. So when we click the build button, you can see there is authentication, app check, Firestore database, and from that list I'm going to click on the authentication, and here I am going to click on this get started button. Then we will be redirected to this section. Here you can see there is native providers, additional providers, custom providers, and from that I am going to select phone, and here I am going to enable this, and I am going to click on this save button. So now you can see that the phone is enabled, and after that I am going to do is I am going to define a new function in this sign in component. So the function is send OTP, which is an arrow function. So now I'm going to use I'm going to define a new variable that is reCAPTCHA, and I'm going to assign the reCAPTCHA verifier as like this way from Firebase auth, and I'm going to pass the auth as a first argument and a string that is reCAPTCHA as a second argument. So we need to use this reCAPTCHA string as an ID for a div to show the I am not a robot section. Okay, so I'm going to create a div. At the time you can see that a section will be shown here. Okay, to prove that I am not a robot. Okay, fine. So here I am going to bring some changes, that is margin top of the button, and also, okay, fine. So here I am going to change this. Okay, next I am going to give the div here below this button, and I am going to give the ID. So the ID is this reCAPTCHA. So I'm going to copy that reCAPTCHA from here and to paste it as the ID of this div. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give the third argument as an empty object, and next I'm going to define a new variable that is confirmation, which is equal to I'm going to give the sign in with the phone number function, and as a first argument I have given auth, and the second argument I have given phone. And as a third argument, I am going to give this reCAPTCHA that we have already defined. Okay, fine. So next I am going to do is I am going to define a new state that is user set user, which is equal to use state null. And I am going to pass this confirmation into that set user. Before that, I am going to copy and paste the function, or I am going to call that function in the on click of the button as like this way, as send OTP. Then next I am going to pass this confirmation into the set user as like this way. And here I am going to give as any as a type. Okay, so next I am going to define another function that is verify OTP. And I am going to do is, here you can see that I am going to select a country and I am going to give my phone number. After that, I am going to click on the send OTP. So at that time you can see that the I am not a robot section. So here I am going to give a margin top for that div. So here I am going to give a class name for this div also. And here I am going to give the margin top as like this way. Fine. So now you can see that the structure as like this way. Then next I am going to do is, here I am going to use that user state. So before that I am going to define a new state that is OTP, set OTP, which is equal to use state empty string. And next I am going to use this set OTP inside an input field. So for that I am going to use an input field from the Tailwind. So I am going to search for the input field, or I am going to search for a Tailwind text field. So at that time you can see that here I am going to click on this link. Here they are shown different text fields or input fields, different designs of input fields. So from this I am going to select one of the basic input field. So I'm going to select this input as like this way, or I'm going to copy and paste it here. After that, I'm going to give an end portion for that input. And next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here the class name instead of class. Okay, fine. So after that, I'm going to do is, here you can see that this is a structure. Then next I'm going to remove that ID. After that, I'm going to give here the color, the background color as black. And also I'm going to give the placeholder that is enter OTP. So here this is a structure. Next, you can see that there is a width section. So I'm going to change that width. Here they have given width full. So I'm going to give as width 72. Fine. So this is a structure. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this button from here and I'm going to paste that button below the input. And here I am going to give as verify OTP. So now you can see that here I am going to change the style as like this way. So this is a structure. So next I'm going to bring some changes. So here I'm going to give the margin top for the input. Okay. Then next I'm going to, okay, fine. Okay. Everything is fine. Then after that, I'm going to do is to give the text color as white as like this way. So next I'm going to use the state user.confirm. That confirmation contains a function called confirm. So I'm going to pass the OTP as an argument into that function after calling. And here I am going to give on change, that is set OTP, a.target.value. Event from here. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to call this verify OTP function in this button as like this way. Fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to add a plus button or plus symbol in this on change of the phone input. And here I'm going to give the async await and also try catch. I'm going to give here as console.error and I'm going to pass this user.confirm into this try as like this way. Okay, fine. So now you can see that here I'm going to define a new variable that is data and I'm going to assign that user.confirm into it and I'm going to console the data in the or I'm going to log the data in the console. So now you can see that here I am going to give as async await in the send OTP function also and also try catch. And here I am going to give as console.error and I am going to pass the or I am going to copy this in the try section. Okay, fine. So now you can see that I am going to enter the number. So first of all, I am going to take the console and I am going to do is to select the country from here from the list and I am going to enter the number as like this way. And next I am going to click on the send OTP button and here I am going to click on the I am not a robot section in the empty space and I am going to fill this requirement. After that, I am going to click on the verify and you can see that I am going to enter the OTP that arrived into my phone as like this way. So after that, I am going to click on the verify OTP button here. So now you can see that in the console, here is the user. It contains the phone number as like this way. So from that, we can understand that this user is logged in. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give some conditions. So functionalities of this sign in page is completed. Next I'm going to give the conditions. for showing this input field and the button. So for that, I'm going to take the project, and next I'm going to give here. Here you can see that there is a send OTP button. So I'm going to give as phone state, that is, if we entered the number, then only we have to show that button send OTP. And I'm going to give that same condition for this second input field also, as like this way. And next I'm going to give here as end portion of this condition. Okay, so now you can see that as of now there is no button. So I'm going to give the condition for the second button also, that is I'm going to give here as OTP as a condition. So at the time you can see that here is no button and the input fields. So I'm going to give the same condition, that is OTP, for this text also, as like this way. So now you can see that first of all there will be only one input field for entering the number. So when we select the country, you can see that, or when we enter the phone number, we can see the send OTP button. So when we click the send OTP button and enter the OTP, then only the verify OTP button and the text will be shown. So this is the structure of our login page of the Disney Plus Hotstar clone. So next you can see that this is the home page of the original website. So here you can see that there is a navbar and a welcome screen. So next I am going to create a new component, that is navbar.tsx. Here I am going to give as navbar. Okay. So next I am going to do is I am going to create another component, that is main.tsx. And inside this main.tsx or main component, I am going to call the navbar component as like this way. Next, I am going to call this main component in the app component. So I'm going to take the app component and I'm going to comment this sign in component. And next, I'm going to call the main component as like this way. So now you can see that here is the navbar. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the navbar component, and here I am going to, here you can see that this is a navbar. Here the navbar contains the icon and the name of the icon. So I'm going to do is to divide this navbar into two parts. So I'm going to give the class name for this div, and inside this class name I'm going to give as grid column 2. So I have divided the navbar into two columns, and here I am going to give as background black and height as h-screen. So now you can see that, and I am going to give the width as w28. So now you can see that the structure as like this way. So next I am going to do is I am going to use the div tag inside this main div as like this way. I am going to use two div tag for left and right portion, for icon and for the name of the icon. Okay. So next I am going to use the image tag inside this first div, and inside this image tag I am going to use the source attribute. So here I am going to import the logo of this Disney Plus Hotstar. You can see that here is the logo. So I'm going to import an image of the logo from my system. So I'm going to import that image into this images folder, and I'm going to do is to rename it as logo.png. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to import this logo into this component, that is import logo from images slash logo.png, images slash logo. So next I'm going to use this logo inside this source attribute, and you can see that I'm going to give the class name width 28, margin left and margin top. Okay, so now you can see that the structure as like this way. Here is the logo. So next I'm going to do is to give other icons also. So I am going to import other icons or other images from my system into this images folder. So I am going to import each icons as like this way. That is user, search, home icon. Then I am going to import this action, love, and comedy. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to rename each icon or each images. So here I am going to give as home, and here I am going to give as search, and the next I am going to give as here user, as like this way. So now you can see that we have imported all the icons. So next I am going to use other image tag as like this way, and here I am going to use the source attribute, and inside the source attribute I am going to use other icons. So for that I am going to import each icon into this component, navbar component, that is user from image slash user. And next I am going to copy and paste that here, and here I am going to give as next I am going to give, or I am going to import the search image or search icon, that is images slash search dot png. The next I am going to import a home, that is images slash home dot png. After that I am going to import a love from images slash love dot png and action and comedy. So I am going to copy and paste two more, and I am going to give here as action, actions dot png, then comedy dot png. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to use these icons or these images into this images tag. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste this image tag as like this way for each icon. So next I'm going to use the or give the each images into this source attribute, that is user, search, home icon, then action, love, action, comedy, as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I am going to give the class name for each image tag, and here I am going to give as width and margin left and also the margin top. After that I am going to give as cursor pointer also. Okay, so next I am going to give here the class name for this search icon, that is width 9, then margin left 7, and margin top, and I am going to give the cursor pointer also. And here in the home icon I am going to give the class name. So I'm going to copy this class name from here and to paste it in the home image tag. And next I'm going to give the class name for this love image tag. And here I'm going to give as width, margin top and margin left 5 and cursor pointer. After that I'm going to copy and paste the same into this action and comedy image tags. So now you can see that this structure as like this way. Okay, fine. So next you can see that here they have given name for each icon. MySpace, search, home, TV, movies, sports. That are the names that they have given. So I am going to give as sign in, search, home, love, action, and comedy. Okay. So for that we have given a second div. So inside the second div, I am going to use the h4 tag for giving the name for each icon. So I am going to use the h4 tag, and here I am going to give as sign in as the name of the first icon. Then I'm going to copy and paste this h4 tag as like this way. Then next I'm going to give the name for each icon. So here I'm going to give as search. The next I'm going to give as home. After that I'm going to give as love, action and comedy. Action, comedy. And I'm going to remove this last h4 tag. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to give a class name for this main div, that is set20, margin left 8, width 20. Next I'm going to give as the background color black and height screen h-screen. Then next I'm going to give as font, that is bold, and I'm going to give as text base, and also I'm going to give as text slate 300, that is the color of the text hyphen slate hyphen 300. So now you can see that the structure is like this way. So next we have to give the margin top style. So here in the h4 tag I'm going to give the class name. So here in the class name I'm going to give as margin top 20. So here is the structure. So next I'm going to give as class name to this second h4 tag. Here I'm going to give as margin top 8. And in the third h4 tag I'm going to give the class name, that is margin top 12. And here in the class name I am going to give as margin top 9. So here I am going to give as margin top 9, margin top 8 or 9. Okay. So now you can see that this is a structure. So I am going to increase as the margin top for action. So here I am going to give as 11, and here also I am going to give as 11. So this is the whole structure. So next I am going to define a new state. So I am going to define the state, that is touch const touch set touch, which is equal to use state. I'm going to give as initial state false. The next I'm going to do is I'm going to give the on mouse enter and on mouse leave in this left side div. So here I'm going to give as set touch to true. In the mouse enter and on mouse leave I'm going to give as set touch to false, as like this way, set touch false. So now you can see that I'm going to give the condition, that is touch, for this right side div. So here I'm going to give as touch and the div. So whenever we hover into that div, at that time we have to show the name of that. Okay, so now you can see that this is a structure. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to define, or I'm going to create a new component, that is welcome.tsx, and here I'm going to give as welcome, as like this way, and I'm going to call this component in this main component. So here you can see that this is a welcome screen or welcome section of this website. So I'm going to do is I'm going to call this welcome component in this main component after this navbar. So below this navbar I'm going to call that welcome component as like this way, and I'm going to do is to give the class name for this main div here. So inside this class name I'm going to do is I'm going to give as flex. The next I'm going to give as background, that is slate hyphen 950, and next I'm going to give as h screen and width full, as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to use the div here, and I'm going to put this navbar and welcome to each div as like this way. And next I'm going to give class name here for the div of welcome and div of navbar. Then here I am going to give as width for about 1 by 12, and here I am going to give as width 11 by 12. Okay. So next I am going to do is, here you can see that we have divided it into two parts. So next I am going to do is to, here you can see that there is a background image in this welcome part. So I am going to use the style in this div. So inside the style I am going to give as background image. So inside this background image I am going to use the URL in the backtick, and inside this URL I am going to give an image of a movie. So I am going to import that image from my system. So I am going to import this image into this images folder. I am going to import this image. So I'm going to import that into the welcome component also. So I'm going to import Avengers from images slash Avengers. Okay, .png. So next I'm going to copy and paste this in this URL as like this way. So after that, I'm going to do is I'm going to give a class name. Here I'm going to give as height screen. So now you can see that the structure as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to give the background repeat, that is no repeat, and also I'm going to give as background size. So I'm going to give the background size as cover. Okay, so now you can see that the structure of the welcome and navbar section as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give the linear gradient before this URL. So here I'm going to give as linear gradient. So I'm going to give the linear gradient, that is RGBA 0007, and I'm going to give the linear gradient RGBA 0.1. Okay, that is RGBA 007 and RGBA 0.1. Okay, fine. So now you can see that here is a structure, here is the shadow. So next I am going to place that shadow in the left portion. So here I am going to give as to right. So at that time you can see that here is the shade. Okay. So next I am going to do is, here you can see that they have divided this welcome page into two parts. So I am going to divide it into two parts by using grid from Tailwind, that is grid column 2. Okay. So next I am going to do is to give div here, to div for the description. So here I am going to give as h1 tag, and inside this h1 tag I am going to give the name of the movie and the game. Then next I am going to give, or I am going to use the h1 tag again after this name. So here I am going to give as class name. So I am going to give this class name as text slate 300, and after that I am going to do is to use the padding top for about 60, and I am going to give the font as bold, and also I am going to give as text for Excel. So now you can see that here is the name of the movie. Then next I am going to give the description of the movie. So for that I am going to use an h1 tag again. So inside this h1 tag I am going to give some lorem ipsum text. So I am going to search for lorem ipsum. So here I am going to click on this first link. So at that time we will be redirected to this page of lorem ipsum. So from here I am going to select, or I am going to copy a small portion. So I am going to copy and paste it in this second h1 tag as a description. Okay. So next I am going to do is I am going to give class name for this section also. So here I am going to give class name, that is text slate 300, and next I am going to give as margin top 3, and I am going to use the another h1 tag between these two h1 tag, that is for date. So I am going to give as date as like this way. And here also I am going to give the class name. So I'm going to give here that is empty4, and I'm going to give class name here that is empty3. So here I'm going to give text slate 300 and empty, that is margin top as 3. Okay, so now you can see that the structure is like this way. Here is the name, date, and the description. Okay, so next I'm going to give the review. So for that I'm going to use another h1 tag below this description as like this way, and I'm going to give here as review. And next I'm going to give class name also. So in this class name I am going to give as a text color, that is text hyphen yellow, text hyphen yellow hyphen, as like this way. So now you can see that the review. So I am going to give here as font bold. Next I am going to give as a text 3xl. So next I am going to give as margin top 8. So now you can see that the structure as like this way. Here is the name of the movie, review, description. So here is the date. The next I am going to do is I am going to give a button also. So I am going to use the button tag as like this way. So here I am going to give the name of the button as watch now, and I am going to give the class name for this button. So here inside this class name I am going to give the style such as background gray hyphen, as like this way. Then next I am going to give as margin top 10. After that I am going to give the style, that is width 60, and I am going to give as hover, that is background gray hyphen 600. So next I am going to give the text, that is white, and I am going to give as font bold. Okay. So next I am going to give as py and px. After that I am going to give the style, that is rounded. Okay. So now you can see that this is the button as like this way. So now I am going to change the width of the button. So I am going to increase the width to 80. Okay. So next I am going to give a height also. So here I am going to give as height, that is I am going to give as 14, or I am going to reduce as the height, that is I am going to give as 12. Okay, fine. So this is the structure as of now. Then here I am going to change the color as like this way. Here I am going to give as 600. Okay, fine. So next I am going to give an animation for this navbar. So for that I am going to use the React Awesome Reveal. So for that I am going to search for React Awesome Reveal as like this way, and I am going to click on this npm. So here I am going to do is to copy this command, that is npm I create React Awesome Reveal, and I am going to run that command in the new terminal. So now the React Awesome Reveal will be installed into our project. So it is installed. You can see that in the package.json. So here is the React Awesome Reveal. So next you can see that here is an example of this React Awesome Reveal. So I am going to use this fade. So for that I am going to wrap this second div using the fade in the navbar. So I am going to give as fade component as like this way, and I am going to wrap this complete div. Okay, fine. So now you can see that here is the animation effect. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give or I am going to bring some changes for the height. So in the navbar component, I am going to give the height of this main div as full, and next I am going to give the see that this is the structure of the navbar and the welcome screen. Okay. So here you can see that in the original website below the welcome screen, here is the home page. The home page contains the cards of different movies. The different movies are listed by using cards. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new component called home.tsx, and here I am going to give as home. The next I'm going to do is to call this component in the main component. So I'm going to command all other components, and here I am going to call the home component as like this way. So now you can see that in the browser, here is the home. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Tailwind card in this home component. So here I am going to click on this link. Here you can see they are showing different cards. So I'm going to select this card, the basic card. So I'm going to copy this code completely from here and to paste it in the home component as like this way. So next I'm going to change the each class into class name in this card as like this way. Okay. After that, I'm going to do is I'm going to give the end portion of this image tag. Okay, fine. So now you can see that the structure of the card as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to import an image from my system into the project. So for that I am going to take and import this image into the project images folder. That is the image of the movie John Wick. So I am going to next take the home component, and here I am going to remove the parts other than the image tag as like this way. So now you can see that I have removed all other elements, all other parts than image tag. So here I am going to remove this image from here, and here I am going to put or import the John Wick from images slash John Wick. Okay. So next I am going to copy and paste that into this source attribute. So now you can see that here is the image tag or image card. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give a div here for wrapping this home component in the main component, and here I am going to give a class name, and inside this class name I'm going to give a padding. So this is the structure as of now. So next I'm going to take the TMDB API. So I am going to use the TMDB API. Here I am going to click on this first link. We will be redirected to this section. So we have to take an account. I have already taken an account. So in the sidebar, you can see that there is a discover section. In that there is a movie. So I'm going to click on that movies. And here you can see that this is the URL that we need to use in our project. So we need to use up to this question mark. So I am going to copy that URL up to that question mark from here. And I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new function in the home component. So I'm going to take the home component, and in the home component, I'm going to define a new function that is get to movies, which is an arrow function. And I'm going to do is use the fetch operation. Inside this fetch operation, I'm going to paste that URL. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to use then, and here we will get the response, and I'm going to convert that into the JSON format by using JSON function. And next I'm going to use it then again. Then we will get the JSON formatted response, and I'm going to log that in the console. So next I'm going to do is to call this get movies function inside the use effect hook. Before that, I'm going to give async, await, and the try catch. So here I'm going to give as try catch, and inside this catch I'm going to give the console.error, and I'm going to paste this fetch operation inside this try as like this way. So next I'm going to call this getMovies function in the use effect hook as like this way. Fine. So next you can see that. So next I'm going to take the TMDB again, and here I'm going to click on this guides in the navbar. So here you can see that there is an API link. So I'm going to click on that API link. Then here you can see the API key. So now I'm going to do is to copy that API key and to paste it in the end of the URL into our project. So here I'm going to give as API underscore key after the question mark, and I'm going to give the API as like this way. So now you can see that I'm going to take the console, and in the console you can see that I'm going to refresh. So here is the results. So results contains the movies. So you can see that in the each movies there is details such as title, that is Mission Impossible, and you can see that other different release date, poster path, popularity, original title, ID, etc. So you can see that here it contains in the JSON dot results. So I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as JSON dot results. Okay. So now you can see that the results as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to define a new state. So I'm going to give as movies, the name of the state as movies, set to movies, which is equal to use state, and I'm going to give the empty array. Okay, so I'm going to copy the set to movies and to paste it in this, and I'm going to pass this JSON dot results into it. Okay, so now I'm going to console the state movies here. So now you can see that the list of movies in the console as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to map through these state movies. So here I'm going to remove this console, and I'm going to map through that state movies as like this way, movies dot map, and I'm going to return the result. So here I'm going to do is to paste this whole div. So here I'm going to take it as data, and I'm going to paste this div from here as like this way. So next I'm going to do is to give a div here, or I am going to wrap this whole into a div. So next I'm going to give a class name to this div. So in this class name I'm going to give, or I'm going to divide this home component into four columns. So for that I'm going to use the grid from the Tailwind, that is grid column 4. So now you can see that the structure is like this way. They have divided into 4 columns. Okay. So here I'm going to give as margin top and margin left. So at that time you can see a gap between the cards. So next I'm going to console the movies state again. So as of now you can see that the cards are separated, or there's a gap. So in the console you can see that in the movies here is the details. So the details contains the poster path. So we need to use that poster path for showing the card image for each movie. So in the poster path they are given only the end portion. So I am going to take the TMDB for getting other portions. So here I am going to click on this more, and I am going to click on API. Here we have reached this guides section. So in that you can see that in the sidebar at the bottom there is images and basics. So I'm going to click on that basics. At the time you can see that we can see the complete image URL that we need to use. So I'm going to use the sections other than the end portion. So I'm going to copy that up to the end portion. and I'm going to paste it in the source attribute as like this way. So I'm going to give the backtick and I'm going to paste that URL here. And here I'm going to give the poster path as data.poster path. So now you can see that they are showing an error, that is this data.poster path or poster path does not exist in type never. So for that I'm going to do is to give the type of this data as any. So now you can see that the error has gone. So now you can see that I'm going to take the browser. Here is the card of each movies or image or poster of each movies. So next I'm going to do is to take the main component, and inside this main component I'm going to give as background color black in this class name. So now you can see that the background color has changed as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to take this main component. Inside this main component, I'm going to uncomment the div, and here I'm going to give another div, and I'm going to cut this home and to paste it inside this div as like this way. After that, I'm going to remove this first div from here. So now you can see that the structure of the clone as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give another div here, and I'm going to cut this navbar and this welcome portion into that div. Okay, so here you can see that as of now, this is a structure. Here is welcome and home page. So next I'm going to give a class name for this main div, and here I am going to cut this background color and to paste it there. So here you can see the complete structure as like this way. So next I'm going to do is you can see that in the original website, the navbar is sticky when we move this home screen or welcome screen as like this way. So for that I'm going to do is here you can see that as of now it is not sticky. So I'm going to take the project and I'm going to take the navbar component. And here I'm going to do is first of all I'm giving set-20. Then next I'm going to give as fixed, that is position fixed. So now you can see that the structure of this navbar as like this way. As of now it is sticky or fixed. Okay. So then next I'm going to do is here I'm reducing the size of the or width of the navbar to 24. Okay, fine. Then after that, I'm going to do is to take the main component, and here I am going to change the background color to black. Next, I'm going to take the home component, and here I am going to give as padding left 16. So now you can see that the structure of this home component as like this way. Okay, fine. So now you can see that there is a gap above this name of the icons in the navbar. So I'm going to do is in the navbar component, I'm going to give here you can see that this is a section or div. So here I am going to do is to give the padding top as like this way. So now you can see that that gap has gone. Okay, fine. So as of now it is fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here another style, that is background opacity. So I'm going to give as background hyphen opacity for about 60. So now you can see there is an opacity for that pop-up as like this way, similar to the original website. So now you can see that there is a change in the position of the text of icons, that is love, action, comedy. So for that I'm going to do is to take the navbar component, and here I am going to reduce the margin top for this two tag as like this way. So now you can see that it is arranged neatly or correctly. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to install React Router DOM into our project. So for that I'm going to take the new terminal, and I'm going to run the command, that is npm install React Router DOM. So now React Router DOM will be installed into our project. We have to wait for that. So now you can see that React Router DOM has been installed into our project. You can see that in the package.json. Here is it, React Router DOM. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the index.tsx component or index component, and here I am going to import the browser router from React Router DOM as like this way. So next I am going to do is to wrap this app component using browser router. So I am going to call this browser router here, and after that I am going to paste this or wrap this app component using browser router. Okay. So next I am going to do is I am going to take the app component or app.tsx, and here I am going to import two other components from React Router DOM, that is routes and route. So first of all I am going to import the routes from React Router DOM. Then after that I am going to import the route component from React Router DOM for giving route to each component in our project as like this way. So here I am going to copy and paste this route here. That means I am going to import a route also from React Router DOM. So next I am going to give the path props here, that is path equal to slash sign in, and here in the element props I am going to give as, so here I am going to copy and paste it again, and here I am going to give element props, and here I am going to give as sign in component. Then next in the second router I am going to give the element for main component, that is element main component. So I have given the path as slash. So next I am going to remove the main component also. So now you can see that when we click this icon in the navbar, that is the sign in icon or profile icon, we have to be redirected to the sign in page. Okay, so for that I am going to do is to take the navbar, and here you can see that this is the image tag for the sign in icon or profile icon. So here I'm going to give the link component from the React Router DOM, and I'm going to wrap the image tag as like this way. After that, I'm going to give the props of link component, that is 2, and inside this 2 I'm going to give as slash sign in. Okay. So next I'm going to import this link component from React Router DOM. Link from React Router DOM. Okay. So now you can see that so in our project, you can see that here is the sign in or profile icon. So whenever we click this icon, we will be redirected to the sign in page. So I am going to click. So you can see that we are redirected to the sign in page. Okay, fine. So next I am going to do is here you can see that there is a title, that is latest releases. So I am going to give that title in the home component. So for that I am going to take the home component, and here I am going to give an h1 tag above this div. So I am going to paste that here, and here I am going to give the h1 tag as like this way. So inside this h1 tag I am going to give the title, that is latest releases, and here I am going to give the class name also. So inside this class name, first of all I am going to give the color of the title, that is text slate 300. Then next I am going to do is next, I am going to give the class name. So here you can see that as of now, this is a structure. So I am going to give a padding top or padding left for the title as like this way. So now you can see the structure. The next, I am going to give a padding left or change padding left for this div also for these cards. The next, I am going to change the font of that latest releases title. So here I am going to give font for about bold. Next, I'm going to give text for about Excel. Okay, fine. So now you can see that the structure as like this way. So next I'm going to do is here we need to give the welcome component, images, and details of the movie. So for that, I'm going to cut this portion, that is the get movies function, the state and the use effect from the home component, and I'm going to paste that in the main component as like this way. So now you can see that here it is showing the error, that is we have to import the use effect and use state in this main component. So I'm going to import the use state and use effect from React as like this way. So now the error has gone from the main component. So next thing that we have to do is, here you can see that there is error in the home component. So next I'm going to pass the movies state to the welcome component first. So at that time you can see that here is showing an error. So I'm going to call the, or I'm going to give props here. At that time the error from the main component has gone. So the error now is in props in the welcome component. So it is because we have to give the type of the props that we are passing. So I'm going to give here as movie prop, that is movies colon any. So we have given the type of the props. The next I'm going to give that movie prop to this props. Okay, so now you can see that the error from the welcome component has gone. So next I'm going to do is to pass this same props to the home component. And now you can see that there is an error. So here I am going to take it as props. Now the error has gone from the main component. So here now error is in the props. So I am going to define the type of the props that we are passing. That means movie prop, movies colon any. Okay. So now the error has gone from the props when we gives that movie props here. Okay. So next I'm going to give here props dot movies dot map. So now you can see that the home component as like that of before, no change has happened. We were passed the props from the main component to the home component. Okay, fine. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring changes in the welcome component. So we only need a single movie. So I'm going to take the 0th movie from the list to show in the welcome component. So here I'm going to give here the details of that particular movie, 0th movie. So for that, first of all, I'm going to take the URL of this image or the poster from here, from the home component, and I'm going to paste it in the welcome component as like this way. And instead of this, I'm going to give as props dot movies dot poster path dot poster path. Okay. So next I'm going to give the title. So here you can see that the poster path of that particular movie or 0th movie. The next I'm going to give the title of the movie as props dot movies dot title. Like that, I'm going to give here as props dot movies dot release date. Below that, I'm going to give the details of the movie. That means props dot movies dot content. Okay, fine. So now you can see that the welcome page is like this way. So here is the title, release date. So next I'm going to do is, here I'm going to console the props dot movies as like this way. So I'm going to take the console. So now you can see that in the console, the details of that particular movie. Here you can see it is showing as overview, not the content. So I'm going to change it as props.movies.overview. So now you can see the overview of that particular movie here. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this overview here. We don't want this complete overview. So for that I'm going to use the substring method of JavaScript. So here I'm going to take the welcome component, and in the welcome component I'm going to give the substring method in this overview as like this way. In this substring, we have to pass two arguments. So first I am going to pass the 0 and second I am going to pass props.movies.overview. Then next I'm going to use the other method, that is index of. So inside this index of, I'm going to give the full stop as like this way. So now you can see that here the overview has reduced. It is showing only up to the first full stop. Okay. So next I'm going to bring some changes in the alignment of this welcome page or welcome section. So for that, here I am going to give or reduces the padding top as like this way. So at that time you can see that it has moved a little bit. Then next I am going to give has here height to full as like this way. Then next I am going to give a padding bottom. So I am going to give a padding bottom for about 7. So next I am going to give a padding top for this home component also. So for that I am going to take the home component and here I am going to give the padding top for about 7 as like this way. So now you can see that the structure as like this. Okay, fine. So next I am going to change the size of this background image. So here I am going to give as background size. I'm going to give a particular size, that is a particular height and a particular width as like this way. So now you can see that the structure as like this. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to change the alignment of these icons. So here I am going to take the navbar and I am going to reduces the margin top of these two icons as 9. So now you can see the structure as like this way. Okay, fine. Then after that I'm going to do is to change these icons to movie and TV. So for that I'm going to import two image or two icon from my system. So these are the two images or icon of TV and icon of movie. I have imported it in the images folder in our project. So next I am going to do is to import that into the navbar component as like this way. So here I am going to remove one of the icon and here I am going to give as TV and I am going to import tv.png. Then I am going to import movie.png as like this way. After that I am going to use that movie image and TV image or icon as like this way here. So now you can see that we have imported and used the two icons here and we have replaced the existing icon. So now you can see that as like that of the original website, we have included the icon of TV and movie. So after that, I'm going to change the name of the icon that is showing there. So here, I'm going to first remove one of the tag and here I am going to give as movie and next I'm going to give as TV. Okay, so now you can see that as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to change the height of this welcome background image or welcome page as height to screen itself. So now you can see the structure as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some changes for the URL. So when we click this home, movie and TV, we have to list different items in this home page. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new state. So that is menu, set menu, which is equal to use state empty string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this set menu as a props to this navbar as like this way. So now you can see there is an error. So we have to use the props in the navbar. So at that time the error from the main component will be gone. So next we have to do is to define the type of that props. So here I am going to give as menu prop. which is set to menu any. Okay. So next I have to use this menu props, or I have to given the type to this props as like this way. So now you can see that the error has gone. So after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the on click here in this home image tag, and here I'm going to pass the set to menu, that is home itself, and here it has props dot set to menu. Okay. The next I'm going to copy this on click from here and to paste it in the image tag of movie and TV also. So here I am going to give as movie and TV to this set to menu as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I am going to this main component, and here I am going to give as backtick. After that I am going to change this movie, and here I am going to give, that is, if the menu is available, then it has to give the menu, otherwise it has to give the movie itself as the default. Okay, fine. So now you can see that here I am going to give menu in the dependency array also. So now I am going to click on the TV icon. At that time you can see that the TV shows are listed here. Okay, as like this way. So next, when I click in the movie icon, you can see that it is changed to movie. That means movies are listed. Okay, so here you can see that in the TV there is not showing the title of the movie. So for that, I'm going to log this props dot movies in the welcome component. So next I'm going to take the console, and in the console you can see that I'm going to click on this TV icon. At that time the TV's shows are listed. So here you can see that it is showing the name other than the title. And also you can see that it is showing the first air date other than the release date. So we have to use these two in this section. That means here I am going to give as if the props.movies.title is available, then we have to use the props.movies.title. Otherwise, we have to use or show the props.movies.name as like this way. So now you can see the name of the particular TV show as like this. Okay. So next I'm going to copy this first air date, and I'm going to give here as if the props.movies.release date is available, then we have to show, or we have to use the props.movies.release date. Otherwise, we have to show or use the props.movies.first air date. Okay, so now you can see that here is it is showing the date and as well as the title of that particular TV show. Okay, fine. So here you can see that next I am going to give a condition for this home icon also. That means when we click this home icon, we have to show the other list. So here I am going to give the condition, that is if the menu is equal to home, or if the menu is equal to empty, at that time we have to show the URL as, I'm going to copy this from here and to paste it again as like this way, and I'm going to bring some changes here. That means in the first URL, I'm going to remove this menu and discover, and here I'm going to give as movie slash upcoming. So at that time you can see that I'm going to, here you can see that it is movie. Now I'm going to click on TV. At that time the TV shows are listed. Then next I'm going to click on movie. The movies are listed. Then I'm going to click on the home. At that time you can see that upcoming movies are only listed here. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to change this review here, which is we have given hard coded. So next I'm going to take the console again. So here you can see the list of the movie, and it is showing the original language. Okay. So I am going to change this review and to give here as props.movies dot original language itself. Okay. So now you can see that the original language here, that is In this movie, it is showing as English. Okay, so here I am going to give as language hyphen as like this way. So now you can see the structure as like this. Fine.
If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel.
So here you can see that this is the card of our clone website. So in the original website, you can see that this is the structure of the card. So I am going to do is to reduce the size of our card in the clone. So for that, I'm going to take the home component in our project. Here I am going to divide that home page into 6 columns, that is grid the column 6. So now you can see that the size of the card has reduced as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to give the functionality for this search icon. So for that, in the home component, I'm going to use the input tag. So I'm going to use the input tag from the Tailwind CSS. So I'm going to search for Tailwind CSS text field. And here I'm going to click on this first link. They have shown different designs of input field as like this way. So from this input field, I'm going to select the basic or first input field or input tag. So I'm going to copy this input tag completely from here and to paste it here as like this way. Next, we have to bring some changes. So first of all, I am going to change this class. Instead of class, I am going to give as class name. After that, I am going to give the end portion of this input tag. So now you can see that the error has gone. Next, we have to bring some other changes. First of all, I'm going to remove this ID from here. Then after that, you can see that they have given the dark placeholder, dark focus, dark background, dark border, etc. So I'm going to remove all that things from here as like this way. So now you can see the structure of our input field as like this. Okay. So next we have to reduce us the width. So I'm going to reduce us the width from full to 40. That is W-40. So now you can see the width has reduced. So next I'm going to give the margin left. So I'm going to give here a margin left as like this way. Okay, so here you can see the structure. So next I'm going to increase us the width from 40 to 96. So W-96. Then you can see that here is the structure of input field. So next I'm going to give a margin top for this latest releases title, margin top 5. Okay. Then after that I am going to change the background color and also the text of the input field. So here I have given background color gray 950 and text to color white. So at that time this is a structure which is fine. So next I am going to give a margin top for this input or text field also here as margin top 3. Okay, fine. Then next here you can see that the placeholder of the original search field, that is movies, shows and more. So I am going to give this same placeholder. So I am going to replace this placeholder using movies, comma, shows, comma, or shows and more. Movies, comma, shows and more. So now you can see the placeholder also as like this way. Fine. Then after that, I'm going to do is to give the condition. That is, whenever we click this search icon, at that time only we need to show that text field or input field. So for that, first of all, I am going to define a new state in the main component. So I am going to give the name of the state as search. So here I am going to give as initial state, that is false. Then after that, I am going to do is I am going to pass this set search to the navbar as a prompt. So now you can see that we know that an error will be shown. So we have to give the type of that set search. So I am giving the type of the set search in this menu prop itself. Okay, fine. So now the error has gone. So next I'm going to use that props dot set search in this search icon on click. That is props dot set search. I'm giving as not equal to props dot search. Props dot search. So we have to pass that search as an props to the navbar. So I'm going to copy and paste it, search also in this navbar as like this way. So here you can see that there will be error. So we have to specify the type. So here I am going to specify the type of the search as Boolean. Okay, fine. So the error has gone, and we have already given that props dot search, that is not equal to props dot search here. Okay, fine. Then next we have to give the condition in this input field, for this input field in the home component. So for that we have to pass the props from the main component to this home component also. That means the search props. So I'm going to copy and paste this search in this home component as like this way. And after that I'm going to specify the type of the search. So here I am going to give as search colon boolean. So the error has gone. So next I'm going to give the props dot search condition here. That is props dot search and this input text field. Okay, fine. So now you can see that I'm going to click on the search icon. At that time, the text field will be shown as like this way. So when I click the search icon again, that search field will be gone. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to give the functionality for this search. So for that, first of all, I'm going to do is I'm going to define a new state, that is search keys. Search keys, comma, set search keys, which is equal to use state, an empty string. Okay, fine. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to use this set search keys in this on change of the input field as like this way. So in the on change, I'm going to give as set search keys as e.target.value. So I am taking event here. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to give a condition for this card here. That means I'm going to use the filter method from the JavaScript. That is filter. I'm going to use data, and I'm going to give it as data dot title. And next I'm going to use includes method from JavaScript. And here I'm going to give as the state that we have defined, that is search keys. Then after that, here I am going to give the type of the data also, that is any. So now you can see that I am going to search for the particular movie. So I am going to click on search icon. At that time, you can see the text field here. So I am going to search for Mission Impossible as like this way. And I am going to search for none. Okay, fine. So now you can see that the search is working fine. Okay. So next I am going to click on search again. At that time, you can see that the search input field will be gone. So next I'm going to do is, so when we click the search, as of now, the focus is not going to the search field. So I'm going to give focus for that search field when we click the search icon. So for that, I'm going to do is to take the main component, and in the main component, I'm going to define a new ref. That is, I'm going to give as search ref, that is use ref null. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to pass this search ref as a props into the home component. So at that time, we will get an error. So we have to specify the type of that search ref. So here I am going to give as search ref colon any. So error has gone. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give the ref for this input field or input tag. So here I am going to give as, we know that the input tag contains a ref attribute. So inside this ref attribute, I am going to pass or paste that props dot search ref. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is to pass this search ref to the navbar component also. So I have passed this searcher up to the navbar component, and in the navbar component, I'm going to specify the type of that searcher of. So I'm going to give as type that is any. Okay, fine. So the error has gone. So next I'm going to do is in the search icon, I'm going to give or I'm going to call the function in this on click itself. That means I'm going to give as props dot search ref props dot search ref dot current dot focus. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is to click on this search icon. So at the time you can see that the an error has shown that is cannot read properties of null reading this focus. So for that I'm going to do is to use the set timeout. So in this set timeout, I'm going to give only 0.001 second. That is here I'm going to give as 1. Then next I'm going to cut this props.set or props.search of .current dot focus into this set timeout. Next I'm going to click on this search icon. At that time you can see that the focus is moved to search field. So next I'm going to give the question mark also here. Otherwise we will get an error that is search of question mark and this current. Okay, so now I'm going to click on the search icon and I'm going to search for a particular movie. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is to give or create a new component for movie details. So when we click this card, we have to redirect it to that movie details component. So here I am going to create a new component called movie details.tsx. So here I am going to give as movie details as like this way. So after that, I'm going to do is I'm going to take the home component. So in the home component, this is a section of card. So I'm going to use the link component from the React router DOM and to wrap this card section as like this way. Then here I am going to give the two props as like this, that is two, which is equal to details slash details. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the app component and here I am going to use another route for details and I'm going to pass the movie details as the element as like this way. So next I'm going to do is when we click this card, any of the card, we will be redirected to this movie details section or component. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this complete div from the welcome component and to paste it in the movie details component as like this way. Okay, fine. We don't want this second div in the movie details component and also in the welcome component. So I'm going to remove this second div from here. Okay, fine. Then in the movie details component, we can see that there is showing error. So we have to remove that error. So for that, I'm going to pass the details or data through this link component by using the state props. So here I'm going to give as a data hyphen data colon data. Okay, so we have passed it to the movie details. So in the movie details, we can take or use the details by using the use location hook from the React router DOM as like this way. So next I'm going to log that location in the console. So before that, I'm going to comment this whole div as like this way. Then next I'm going to take the console. So here I'm going to take the console. At that time you can see that it will show the details. That means location dot state dot data contains the details such as the title, poster path, etc. So I'm going to give as location dot state dot data there. So first of all, I'm going to uncomment this complete div, and here first of all I'm going to give here as location dot state dot data dot poster path. Location dot state dot data dot poster path. Okay. So next I'm going to copy this whole section and to paste in all other areas. That is here location dot state dot data dot title or location.state.data.name. And here I am going to give as location.state.data.release location.state.data.first-air-date. Like that, I am going to give in all of the section here in the overview also. The next, I am going to remove the substring. We don't want that substring in this details page. So I have removed that. Okay, fine. So now you can see that the structure of our movie details page is like this way. So next, I am going to bring some change in the width of that background image. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to give a padding left. So here I'm going to give as padding left as like this way. Padding left. Okay, fine. So now you can see the structure of the movie details as like this. It is fine now. So next I'm going to click on one of the movie card. Then we will be redirected to this movie details page. So next I'm going to do is to change the structure of the search bar. So here you can see that in the original website, the search bar is as like this way. When we click the search, there will not be the welcome screen. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to do is, so I'm going to make as like that way. So I'm going to take the home component. So here you can see that the input field. So here I'm going to change the width first. So I'm going to give or increases the width, that is 10 by 12. So now you can see that the width has increased in our website clone as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the navbar, and we have already passed the set search to the navbar. So I'm going to do is I'm going to give that set search in this home movie and TV on click as like this way. So here I'm going to give as props dot set search as false, props dot set search as false. Okay. So next I'm going to do is to copy and paste this and to put in the on click of this movie and TV also. So here I'm going to give as props.set search to false, and also in the TV image on click I'm going to give as a props.set search to false. Okay, so now I'm going to do is in the main component I'm going to give the condition for the welcome as like this way. So here I'm going to give the condition, that is search and the welcome. That means not equal to search. Okay, fine. That is search is false. Then we have to show the welcome. So now you can see that here is the structure. So I am going to click on the home. Then you can see the list of the upcoming movies. Then next I am going to click on the search icon again. At that time you can see that the welcome screen will be removed. Then again I am going to click on the movie as like this way. Okay, fine. So next we can search here as like this. So at the time you can see that there is a gap in the bottom. So I'm going to do is to give a height. That is, I'm going to give the minimum height for about the screen in this main component. So at that time you can see that that error has gone. Okay, fine. So this is the structure as of now. Then next I'm going to do is I'm going to change, or I'm going to bring some change for the design of the text field. So here I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to give as border gray 700, or I'm going to change it as border gray 800 and background gray 800. Okay, so now you can see the structure as like this way. The structure of the text field of original and our clone as like this. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give outline to none. And after that I'm going to change the whole of this blue color into gray 800 itself. In the both place I'm changing it into gray 800. So now you can see that the structure as like this way. Okay, fine. And next here you can see that in the TV section, when I click the TV, here latest releases are not showing. The latest releases shows are not given here. Okay. So that is because in the home component we have given a condition or filter method that is data.title.includes the search keys. And we need to give the data.name also. So I'm going to copy and paste it here as like this way, and I'm going to replace title by using name. So here is latest releases. So next I'm going to do is to give the functionality for this watch now button. So for that I'm going to create a new component that is viewTrailer.tsx as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to search for TypeScript React module to use that in our component. So here I'm going to click on this first link and I'm going to copy this command and I'm going to run the command in the terminal as like this way. So now the TypeScript React model will be installed into our project. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the React model and here you can see that they are showing an example. So from this I'm going to copy this complete div and to paste it in our component as like this way. So now you can see that there is some error. So we have to bring some changes. So for that I'm going to import or I'm going to copy and paste this import model from React model as like this way. So after that, I'm going to do is to copy and paste other functions. So they have given some function as like this way, function and a state. So I'm going to copy and paste these functions and the definition of the state in our project component as like this way. So from that, I'm going to remove this function. The next I'm going to remove or I'm going to copy and paste this custom styles into our component as like this way. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this section from this model component and I'm going to remove all this h2 tag, form, etc. Okay. So now you can see that the error has gone. So next I'm going to do is here you can see that I'm going to use the or call the view trailer component in this welcome component as like this way. Then I'm going to copy this button from here and I'm going to paste that button instead of this button in this view trailer component. Okay. Next, I'm going to give on click, and inside this on click, I'm going to call the function that is open model function that they have already defined. So here I'm going to click on this function, or at that time you can see the model as like this way. So next I'm going to search for the React YouTube. So at that time you can see that we have to install the React YouTube into our project. So for that I'm going to click on this first link. Then I'm going to copy this command from here and to run that in our project. So now React YouTube will be installed. Okay, that we can see that TypeScript React model and React YouTube in the package.json. Okay, so next I'm going to do is here you can see that we have to use the YouTube component. So I'm going to use that here within this modal as like this way. So now you can see that I'm going to click on this watch now at that time. This is the modal. So within this component, you can see that we only want to give the video ID. Okay. So, so next I'm going to do is for that, I'm going to give here video ID. So we have to pass the video ID here. So for that, I'm going to define a new function in this view trailer component. So I'm going to define a new function called get to videos as an arrow function. Okay. So in this function get to videos, I'm going to use the fetch operation. And inside this fetch, I'm going to paste a URL. So I'm going to take the TMDB and in the sidebar you can see that here is the movies section. So in the movies section, you can see that there is a videos option or button. So I'm going to click. Then here you can see the complete URL that we need to use. So I'm going to copy that complete URL from there and I'm going to paste it in the fetch operation. Just like this way. So next we have to give the movie ID in this URL in this position. Okay. So next I'm going to give API key before that. So I'm going to copy that API key from this main component. So we have already used that API key here. So I'm going to copy that API key from here and to paste it in this section. And after that, I have given and then next I'm going to take the response from this API. In the then I'm going to take the response and I'm going to convert that response into JSON format by using JSON function. After that, I'm going to take that JSON formatted response and I'm going to do is I'm going to pass that JSON formatted response into a state. So for that, I'm going to define a state. So I'm going to give the name of the state as videos, set to videos, which is equal to use state. I'm going to pass the empty array into the use state as like this way. So next I'm going to use that set to videos and I'm going to paste it. So here I'm going to import the use state. After that, I'm going to pass that JSON formatted response JSON dot results into set to videos. Okay. So here I am going to give the async await and try catch. I'm going to cut this section and to paste it in the try. And next I'm going to give the console dot error in the catch. Okay. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to call this get to videos function in the use effect hook as like this way. Use effect dependency array. Then I'm going to call the get to videos. So I'm going to give the videos in this dependency array. Then after that, I'm going to log the videos in the console. And next we have to give the movie ID here. So for that, I'm going to take the welcome component. We have already called video view trailer in there. So next in the movie detail also, I am going to call this component view trailer. And I'm going to remove this button from here as like this way. Okay. So next you can see that here is the details, that is location.state.data. So I have logged the location in the console. So I'm going to take the inspected. I'm going to take the console. So in the console, I'm going to click on this one of the card. So that time you can see that this is the location. So location contains location.state.data, which contains the ID. So we have to give this particular ID into that YouTube component. So for that we have to pass that here as a prop. So I'm going to pass as details ID. So details ID is equal to location.state.data.id. Location.state.data.id. So at that time you can see that we will get an error. So we have to give the props there here as props. At that time we will get an error in props. So next we have to define the type of that details ID. So here I am going to give as ID prop, that is details ID colon any. And after that I am going to copy and paste this ID prop to this prop as like this way. So at that time you can see an error in this welcome component. So for that I am going to do is to give a question mark for this details ID. So at that time you can see that the error in this welcome component will be gone. Okay. So next I'm going to pass that ID here. So for that I am going to give here the backtick. After that, I'm going to pass that details ID in this movie ID section as like this way. Props dot details ID. Okay, fine. So now you can see that I'm going to take the console. So in the console, you can see that this is the videos that we have logged before. So at that time, you can see that they have shown different videos. So in that videos, you can see the key. So we have to pass this key to that YouTube component as video ID. So here I am going to give as this video state, that is videos of 0. So I am going to take one of the video. So I am going to take the 0th video and I'm going to give as videos of 0. So here you can see that when we log the videos of 0, that videos of 0 contains these details. So from that I am going to take the key, that is videos of 0 dot key, as like this way. So in the console you can see that these are the keys that we are giving or passing to this YouTube component. Okay. So I'm going to do is, here you can see that they have shown an error. So I'm going to do is to give type for this definition of state, that is any. So next I'm going to copy and paste this videos of 0 dot key here as like this way for video ID. And I'm going to remove this console. So now you can see that I'm going to click on this watch now button. At that time you can see the model here and you can see the particular video regarding that movie. So next I'm going to do is, next I'm going to take the welcome component. We have already called the view trailer in the welcome component. So here I'm going to pass the ID as welcome ID, which is equal to, we have taken the details, that is props dot movies dot ID. So I'm going to pass, and here I'm going to give the welcome ID props type as like this way, any. Okay. So now you can see that the error has gone. So here I have given the question mark also. Okay. So next I'm going to pass this props dot welcome ID also. That is, if props dot the details ID is there, then we have to give details ID. Otherwise, we have to show the props dot welcome ID. So now you can see that I am going to give a condition here, that is props dot movies is available. Then only we have to show the watch now button in the welcome component or welcome section. Okay, so now you can see that I am going to click on this watch now in this welcome component. So now you can see the trailer as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is, I'm going to click on one of the card in this home component, home page. So at that time you can see that we will be redirected to details section, and here also we can see the trailer as like this way. So after that I'm going to click on back, and here I'm going to click on the watch now again in the welcome screen. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to change the background color of this button, or I'm going to change the color of this watch now button in this home component or details component and in the welcome component. So here for that, in this view trailer, I'm going to change the background as sync. So now you can see that the color of this watch now button in the details section and also in the welcome section is changed. Okay. So next I'm going to give notification using React Toastify. So for that I'm going to search for React Toastify, and I'm going to click on this first link of npm React Toastify. And I'm going to copy this command from here and to run that command in the new terminal. So now the React Toastify will be installed into our project. So React Toastify has been installed. We can see that in the package.json. So here you can see that React Toastify as like this way. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is when we take the documentation of React Toastify, you can see an example. So here we have to use the toast container component and the toast. So for that I'm going to do is to import this toast container, toast and this style into this view trailer component as like this way. Then next I'm going to give as in this on click of the button, I'm going to give auth.current user. If auth.current user is available, then we have to call the open modal. Otherwise, we have to show the toast that is please login. So next I'm going to use the toast container also. So below this model, I am going to give the toast container component from the React Toastify. So now I am going to click on the watch now. So here you can see the please login notification in the welcome and the details component section. Okay, so next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as toast.warning. So at that time you can see that we can see the please login as like a warning. Okay, so here in the details section and also in the welcome section we can see the warning as like this way. Fine. So next I'm going to do is to navigate after sign in. So for that I'm going to take the sign in component and here I'm going to do is I'm going to use the use navigate hook from the React router DOM. So I'm going to import the use navigate hook. That means I'm going to define a new variable that is navigate and I'm going to assign the use navigate to it. Next I'm going to use that navigate here in the verify OTP function as like this way. So here I'm going to give as slash that is main component. So next I'm going to do is here I'm going to add a new icon. So for that I'm going to take the or I'm going to import this logout icon into the images folder. So this is the icon. So I'm going to import that into this navbar as out from images slash out dot png. So next I'm going to use the image tag here after this. So in this image tag, I'm going to use the source attribute. So in the source attribute, I'm going to use that image of the logout as like this way, and I'm going to give the class name. So I'm going to give the class name by copying and pasting it from other image tag as like this way. I'm going to copy and paste it here. So now you can see that here is an icon in the navbar as like this way that is, and here I'm going to give as sign out the name of the icon as like this way as a text. So now you can see that here is the sign out icon. So next I'm going to do is to give or I'm going to define a new function. So I'm going to define a new function called logout as an arrow function and I'm going to use the sign out function from the Firebase. The Firebase contains a function called sign out. I'm going to import that from the Firebase auth as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give the async await and also the try catch. So here I'm going to give this try catch and inside this catch I am going to give the console.error and inside this try I am going to give the sign out function as like this way. Okay, fine. So you can see that they are showing an error that is we need to pass one argument into the sign out. So I am going to pass the one argument that is auth. So the error has gone. So next I am going to do is to call this logout function in the on click of that image tag that we have used now as like this way. So now you can see that after that, after the sign out function, I'm going to do is to use the toast. Okay, so for that I'm going to copy and paste this toast container, toast and the style into this navbar as like this way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the toast after the sign out function as like this way. Then here I'm going to give as logged out successfully. So here I'm going to give the condition also, that is if the auth.current user is not available, that is when the user is logged out, then we have to show the logged out successfully message as like this way, notification. So now you can see that I am going to click on the logout or sign out button. At that time, you can see that it is showing logged out successfully. So next I'm going to give here as toast.success. At that time, you can see that it is showing a success message, that is logged out successfully. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sign in component, and in the sign in component also I'm going to use this toast as like this way. So here I'm going to use the toast. For that I'm going to paste or import toast container and style as like this way. Then next I'm going to use the toast here after this user.confirm in this verify OTP function. So here I'm going to give the condition, that is if the user is signed in after clicking this button, then we have to show the message or notification that is signed in successfully. Okay, so here I'm going to give as signed in successfully, and next I'm going to do is I'm going to give here as toast.success. After that I'm going to sign in. So I'm going to click on the, or I'm going to select the country, and here I'm going to give the number. And next I'm going to click on the send OTP button. Here you can see that I am not a robot. After that I'm going to enter the OTP in this input as like this way. Then next I'm going to click on, before that I'm going to change this get OTP into send OTP. Okay, we have given that enter code number and click send OTP. So after that, I'm going to click on this verify OTP button here. Then you can see that we will be redirected to the main page, and also you can see the notification that is signed in successfully. Then next I'm going to click on the logout button. So here is showing logged out successfully. So now when we click watch now, it will show the please login. So next I'm going to do is to give the condition for this logout button. So in the navbar component, this is the logout or sign out image tag. So here I'm going to do is I'm going to give a condition, that is auth.current user. That is if the user is logged in, at that time only we need to show the sign out button. Okay. So here also I'm going to give as auth.current user for the text. Auth.current user and sign out as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give the condition for this. So now you can see that in this navbar here is no logout button as. So next you can see that as of now the user is logged in. So after that also I'm going to click the watch now. At that time you can see that it is not showing the model and the video. So I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some changes. That is, we have already given that auth current user is available, then only we need to call the open model function. But I'm going to remove that completely, and here I'm going to call this open model function in the on click of this as like this way of this button. And here what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a condition if else in this open model function, that is auth.current user dot phone number is available. Then I'm going to do is to give set is open to true. Else I'm going to do is to give as set is open to false as like this way. Set is open to false. So now you can see that the user is logged in, and I'm going to, after that I'm going to give a toast here, that is toast, that is please login, toast dot warning as like this way. Okay, fine. So now you can see that we can watch the trailer like this. Okay, fine. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to give a condition for the sign in icon also in the navbar. So I'm going to take the navbar component in our project. So here you can see that this is the sign in image tag. So I'm going to do is to give the condition that is auth.current user and. So here I am going to give us if auth.current user is not available, then we have to show that image tag. So as of now, we cannot see the icon here in the navbar. I'm also giving the condition for this text that is sign in. That is here I am going to give as auth.current user and. That is if auth.current user is not available.
If this video is helpful to you, please consider subscribing to the channel